did Cobb perform Inception on Miles' mind? I watched Inception for the first time in years, and obviously it's still perfect. The big conflict of this film is Cobb's relationship and manifestation of Mal as grief, and him performing Inception on his wife to get them out of this dream state. And I realized on this rewatch that Cobb actually did not have to incept Mal's mind to get them out of this dream state. He did it because he was curious. One thing I realized upon this rewatch is that Cal is a professional gaslighter. He's also a very curious man who is obsessed with the dream state and the things that he can do with it. Now, obviously, he wasn't doing it as a thief before his wife was killed, but it was clear that he was a pioneer and someone that frequently went into the dream state and tested its boundaries. Even the situation in which Cobb did incept Miles' mind because they were there for over like 50 years, we see they were there because they were testing their limits. They were testing the boundaries of being in a dream state. The tragedy of that is that Miles started to believe that that dream state was real. But it was clear that there were so many ways that Cobb could have shown Mal that they were in a dream state outside of Inception that he chose not to. That she did lock away her totem. When he found it, he could have brought her back to it. He could have had her open it and try it in that dream state. Or he could have just performed a kick. Because when I first watched it, I was like, he could have just killed her in the dream state and then they would have woke up and he would be like, yeah, we were dreaming. I was trying to tell you. But then, she would have had these vivid memories of her husband murdering her. And I think that would have still drove her mad. But a kick is nothing. He could have pushed her in water. They could have been playing around in the pool and he pushed her and she woke up. Anything. But he chose to incept her, and I think a big reason of that is because he was curious. And I think it's hard for us to conceptualize him doing something so nefarious because we see him as this like grief-stricken man who did what he had to get out of this dream. But the rest of the film shows us that that's actually not how Cobb moves. He's a terrible boss that doesn't communicate with his team and does what he wants. Even when it comes to our perception of Mal in the film, which by the way, I need to take a second to just talk about this dress because she's so stunning in this. But yeah, when I first saw the film, every time I would see Mal, I would be annoyed. And I found myself hating Mal as a character because all of the characters in the film treated Mal like she was her own person. They all understood that Mal was a projection of Cobb's guilt, but they treated her like she was a person with free will that was doing things on her own. Like Cobb just manifested her and now he has no control over her. But Ariadne, which it's so odd to see Elliot Page this way, was the first one to call Cobb on his bullshit every time. She is the one to actually highlight that Cobb does whatever he wants to get the result that he feels like it. Cobb brings in this full team into a very dangerous mission without one, describing how he did Inception the first time, two, without disclosing how dangerous this mission is. It is a huge deal to not tell your team that if they were to die on this mission, they would die in real life. Honestly, it doesn't make sense that he would because them moving so recklessly was because they knew that, there's no stakes here. But Cobb didn't release that information because he wanted this team to do the job. And he didn't want to risk any of them saying no, which let's face it, I don't think any of them would. It seemed like there was a lot of money involved. Cobb never wants to take that chance. And I think the reason why he's able to let Mal go in the end of the film is because he is recognizing the type of person that he is and that everyone is perceiving Mal as someone differently, and that's not fair to her. Even in death, he is dishonoring his wife's memory to everyone that interacts with her by projecting his own emotion and his own personality onto her. It was so beautiful to see him admit it. And I think what's so great about this and what makes Inception honestly a perfect movie is that whichever ending that you believe, whether or not this entire film was a dream or whether or not it was real, Cobb recognizing his own shortcomings and the way that he's been projecting on Mal to keep people's perception of him positive. I loved it. Anyway, if you're home right now and you haven't seen Inception in the last couple of years, I say rewatch it. I forgot how incredible this film was. The scenes are absolutely breathtaking. There's so much about this story that's up for debate and interpretation that it makes it really fun to watch with other people. Yeah, after I saw this, I had to share with y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on Cobb and this film, and I'll see you later.